Tails is an amazing operating system, designed to protect your privacy and anonymize your activity, but it can be a real pain to install. It's been a long time since I last made a Tails video, and since Tails 2.0 was released, the way in which you install and use Tails has changed dramatically. So in this video, I'll be going over how to install Tails, which is currently version 2.4, covering how to download and verify the ISO image, creating the live USBs, and setting up persistence within your Tails installation. In order to install Tails, you'll need two USBs that are at least 4 GB in size. This is because we'll be creating two installations of Tails, an intermediary version and a final version. You will lose all data on these USBs, so I highly recommend you back up anything that you want to keep. You will also need to be able to access your computer's BIOS and boot from your USB. Lastly, you will need to have either the Tor browser or Mozilla Firefox installed. So to get started, go ahead and open up Firefox or the Tor browser and head on over to tails.bomb.org. Click on the version number and follow the wizard until you get to the installation page. Now I'll be going through the Windows installation process in this video, but I'll also be uploading both macOS and Linux versions in the future, so check the description for updates on those. Now that we're on the installation page, scroll down until you reach the Download and Verify the Tails ISO Image section. Here, if you're on Firefox, you can install the Tails add-on, which will download and automatically verify the ISO image for you. Install the add-on and download the latest version of Tails from the website. Once downloaded, the ISO will be automatically verified for you, though the download and verification process will take some time, depending on your internet connection. To install Tails, we first need to create an intermediary version by installing it to our first USB. This version of Tails, as the website says, is lacking in a number of features, such as file persistence and automatic upgrades, but it can be used to clone Tails to create the fully installed version on our second USB. In order to install the intermediary version of Tails, you can either use the Universal USB installer, instructions for which are detailed in the installation guide, or you can use Rufus, which I find to be much easier and faster to use. So to get Rufus, you can go over to rufus.accio.ie, the link for which is in the description, and scroll down until you find the download for the latest version. Once Rufus is downloaded, you can simply click on the .exe to run it. Once Tails is open, you'll be shown a form that asks for your USB device. Plug in your first USB and it should show up in the menu. Next, click on the CD icon and browse to where your Tails ISO was downloaded to. Once selected, click on Start, ensure ISO mode is selected, and confirm that you want to erase the USB drive and install Tails. It will take some time to finish writing the ISO to the USB. After Rufus is finished writing the ISO to the USB, power off your computer, but keep your USB plugged in. Power on your computer, and during boot, press the key for your device that allows you to choose which device you want to boot from. Now this key will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. For example, on my HP Envy laptop, this key is F9, while on my Mac you need to hold down the Option key during startup. A quick Google search can find the BIOS related hotkeys for your computer. Once you have entered the boot selection screen, select the USB you installed Tails to in order to boot from it. This will then bring up the screen that prompts you to boot either the live version of Tails or the failsafe live version. Choose the first option and press enter to continue. If you do not see your USB, you will need to go into your BIOS settings using the relevant key for your computer and ensure that Secure Boot is disabled. When Tails has successfully booted, you'll be greeted with a screen that asks whether you want to see more options. This is where you can set admin passwords and configure a network if need be. As we're only using this version of Tails to install our final version, we don't need to change any of these settings. Click Login and you'll be taken to the desktop. In order to install our final version of Tails, plug in your second USB, click on the Applications button on the top left of the desktop, choose the Tails tab and run the Tails installer. Within the Tails installer, we are shown three options: Install by cloning, Upgrade by cloning, and Upgrade by ISO. When newer versions of Tails are released in the future, you can use the upgrade options to upgrade your Tails installation, but for now we want to select Install by Cloning. This will bring up a window that prompts you to select a USB device. Select your USB, which should have been selected by default, and click on Install Tails. Once again, all data from this drive will be erased. Press yes to continue installing Tails, and it will take some time to clone the current version of Tails to the new USB. Once the installation is completed, power off your computer once again. If it takes longer than a few seconds to power off, you'll need to hold down the power button on your computer to force it to shut down. After it's powered off, remove the USB containing the intermediary version of Tails, as we don't need it anymore. When powering on next, go to the boot selection screen and choose your final Tails USB. When it boots up, click on Login and you'll be greeted with the nice GNOME desktop once again. From here, we want to set up file persistence, as currently any documents we save on our Tails installation will be deleted when we shut down. To enable file persistence, click on the Applications button on the desktop, select the Tails tab and choose Configure Persistent Volume. This will open up a window that prompts you to enter a passphrase. Now I highly recommend using a very long, unique passphrase for security. It will then take some time to create the encrypted persistence volume, but once it is complete, you'll see a window that allows you to select what you want to save within that volume. Now unless you're familiar with Tails or absolutely need additional options, I highly recommend you only choose the personal data option. Press save to confirm your selection, close the wizard and power off Tails yet again. Boot up Tails again, and this time when you get to the login screen, there will be a new option asking you whether you want to enable file persistence. Select yes and enter your passphrase. At this point you may wish to configure the advanced options if you need to, but it is recommended to leave them as is. Once you're happy with everything, click on Login and open up the File Explorer by clicking on the Home folder on the desktop. You will notice that there is a folder called Persistent in the home directory. Any documents saved within this folder will be stored onto the encrypted persistent volume that you created, while any other data outside of this folder will be deleted when you power off. Before accessing the internet, you will need to wait for Tor to initialize. Once it is done, you will see a notification on the bottom of the screen telling you that you can now access the internet. To do so, click on the Applications button again and choose the Tor browser from the Favorites section. To confirm that you're connected to the Tor network, click on the Tor check button on the home page. It should now say that your browser is successfully configured to use Tor. For security, I highly recommend you disable JavaScript using the No Script button in the toolbar of the Tor browser and selecting Forbid Scripts globally. And with that, you are now fully set up to use Tails and the Tor browser within, to browse the internet anonymously, bypass proxies and other forms of censorship. If you're wanting to use Tails to access the Tor hidden services, you can get to a number of them through my website deepweb.pw. This provides links to the hidden wiki as well as various search engines for the hidden services. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, be sure to check out my other videos on how to use the Tor browser on your own operating system, or my 5 security tips for using Tor. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more videos regarding Tor, Tails, Linux, and other tutorials.